The diagram of the 8 trigrams is the earliest record of civilization left by the Chinese people from before the age of written texts. To study the I Ching, the first thing we need to understand is this diagram. How did it come into being? What does each of the 8 trigram images represent? Why do we say that all things in the universe are contained within them? And is there a way to understand the 8 trigrams more easily? Professor Tseng Shichang of National Taiwan Normal University will guide us in appreciating the wisdom of the I Ching. We do not have a religion, but we do have faith. Where does that faith lie in Chinese cultural tradition? In ancient times, Fuji hoped to give the Chinese people, generation after generation, a shared understanding and a shared faith. That faith was ethics and morality. So today, I would like to say something worth reflecting on carefully. What our ancestors passed down, and what has never been broken throughout our long history, is ethics and morality. This is why Confucianism has always been held in such high regard. But in Fuji's time, where were written texts? Where was language? How could he explain so many principles? It was impossible. This is one of the reasons we deeply admire Fuji. With a simple stroke that opened heaven, he showed us that Taiji represents the order of the natural universe, which follows its own patterns and laws. But Fuji hoped that we would bring the patterns of nature into human society. This is why the I Ching often uses the countless phenomena of the universe to explain the principles of human life. What are these principles of human life? We call them ethics. Ethics is simply the name we give to them. When you explain ethics to Westerners, they may say that it is religion. This is because, in the West, personal moral cultivation is often placed within the realm of religion. I think this is something we must understand clearly. In the West, morality is divided. Conduct is considered a matter of science, while becoming a good person is considered a matter of religion. But at the root, these things are not separate. From the single stroke that opened heaven, Taiji gradually divided into yin and yang. Then Fuji thought, if yin and yang do not interact, what effect can they have? They cannot produce anything. So he understood that yang must combine with yin. Only in this way can the 10,000 things be produced. And what did this become? It became the 4 symbols. Then Fuji thought again, if everything is always yin and yang, always in balance, then it will not move. How can something in perfect balance move? So he realized that the universe is created through imbalance. This idea has had a tremendous influence on us. Everything exists in a state of imbalance, and we try to bring it back into balance. But very soon, that balance is broken again. We discover a new imbalance, and then we seek balance once more. This is called dynamic balance. If you use this idea to look at all phenomena today, you will see that everything is in dynamic balance, not static balance. Static balance means stillness, and stillness means death. If something cannot move, how can there be continuous renewal? Fuji understood that 2 yin lines can have either a yin line or a yang line added above them. 2 yang lines can also have either a yang line or a yin line added above them. A combination that already contains both yin and yang can likewise have either a yang line or a yin line added. In this way, the number naturally becomes 8. These are called the 8 trigrams. The 64 hexagrams are formed from the 8 trigrams. Many people think the 8 trigrams are one thing and the 64 hexagrams are another, but this is not the case. The 64 hexagrams are formed by the 8 trigrams overlapping and combining with one another. When all the combinations are complete, there are 64 different situations. This makes the relationship very clear. Fuji's single stroke opened heaven and earth, and this stroke is Taiji. Within Taiji, yin and yang are contained. Fuji drew out the various transformations of yin and yang, and these became the 8 trigrams. But many people find the I Ching difficult precisely because they cannot understand the 8 trigrams, let alone the 64 hexagrams. So what exactly do the 8 trigrams represent? If we understand them, can we then read and understand the I Ching? How should we read the I Ching? First, we must make the 8 trigrams clear. Everything is connected with them. So the 8 trigrams are the I Ching, and the I Ching is the 8 trigrams. Together, they are often called the I Ching and 8 trigrams. What are the 8 trigrams? They are the 8 basic elements drawn from the countless phenomena of the universe. From the information given in the I Ching, the elements that make up the universe can be understood as 8 kinds, which 8? The 8 most closely related to human life. The first must be heaven. If there were no heaven, then nothing would exist. Everything would be silent, and the 10,000 things would not exist. What kind of world would that be? Once there is heaven, we look up and see heaven. What is below it? The earth. Heaven and earth are 2 things that, I believe, no one can be separated from. Of course, a person can leave heaven and earth for a time. Becoming an astronaut is honorable and wonderful. But if you had to leave the earth forever and remain an astronaut permanently, would you be willing? I do not know. If we think carefully, the earth is still better. Heaven and earth are the foundation of human existence. We cannot be separated from them. After heaven and earth, what do you immediately think of? 2 things, water and fire. Can you live without water? Without fire, what would you eat? When we think this way, it becomes clear that the I Ching originally drew its principles from nature. Heaven, earth, water, and fire are the 4 most fundamental things. But are heaven, earth, water, and fire enough? No. Sometimes fire becomes too strong, and the heat is unbearable. Then we begin to fan ourselves, hoping for wind. This shows that wind is also important. When wind comes, what do you think of as its counterpart? Thunder. The feeling of thunder and the feeling of wind often contrast with each other. So we have heaven, earth, water, fire, thunder, and wind. Then you ask, why does the wind come from that direction and not this one? It turns out that a mountain is blocking it. Mountains block many things, so it makes sense that the wind comes from the other side. Mountain also becomes important. If the mountain blocks the wind, what is on the other side, where the wind comes from? What is there? It is the sea. Of course, it is not always literally the sea. In many places without a sea, lakes or marshes are also called sea. In Yunnan, for example, people say Hai Zi to refer to a lake. In this way, 8 things appear: heaven, earth, water, fire, thunder, wind, mountain, and marsh. All things in the world are the result of these 8 things interacting with one another. Thunder can interact with wind, thunder can interact with mountain, and thunder can also interact with heaven. Why not? A bolt of thunder can strike upward into the sky, and a bolt of thunder can also burst out from underground. Therefore, we assign these 8 phenomena to the 8 primary trigrams, the basic trigrams. Within them, there are only 2 small systems, one related to heaven and one related to earth. That makes them very easy to remember. Through careful observation, Fuji discovered that although the universe contains the 10,000 things and the 10,000 phenomena, they are all formed from 8 fundamental elements: heaven, earth, water, fire, thunder, wind, mountain, and marsh. So how did Fuji use the changes and combinations of the 2 symbols, yin and yang, to represent these 8 natural phenomena? How do we draw heaven? We must imagine the simple thinking of ancient people from a very distant past. Naturally, we would draw an arc, and that would represent heaven. You will also notice that heaven is not a thin single layer. It seems that beyond heaven there is more heaven, heaven above heaven. This is easy to understand. So 3 lines are drawn, like drawing a rainbow today, and the trigram image appears. What does it look like? It looks like heaven. Heaven appears in this form. And what about earth? Earth is beneath heaven. You see land at the horizon, but rivers divide it in between. Standing on one side of a river, you see heaven on both sides, and heaven is connected. But the land is divided, with one piece here and another piece there. So naturally it is drawn as broken lines. You also know that earth is thick, not a thin single layer, so 3 broken lines are used. We divide the 8 trigrams into 2 categories, one related to heaven and one related to earth. When you draw heaven, you find that these 3 straight lines are called a 3-yao trigram. The character yao is a special term in the I Ching. Each line in a trigram is called a yao line. The bottom line is the lower yao line, the middle line is the middle yao line, and the top line is the upper yao line. A yao line is a symbol. The lowest line of heaven is called the lower yao line of heaven. The middle line of heaven is called the middle yao line of heaven. The top line of heaven is called the upper yao line of heaven. This is very clear. Why are yao lines identified in this way? Because rarity makes things precious. When there are 2 yang lines and 1 yin line, yin is the minority, so yin becomes primary. When there are 2 yin lines and 1 yang line, yang is the minority, so yang becomes primary. What does the lower yao line of heaven represent? What moves beneath heaven? Some people immediately think of trees, and that is not wrong. Trees move beneath heaven, and in ancient times, trees were the tallest things people could see. But would people think first of trees moving? And what if there were no trees in that place? A more universal and easier thing to imagine is wind. When wind comes, there is something beneath heaven that we cannot see, but we can clearly feel it moving. What moves beneath heaven? Wind. Now consider the middle yao line of heaven. Wherever fire burns, we see flames rising into the sky like a sea of fire. Even a small fire produces smoke, so the middle yao line of heaven is fire. And the upper yao line of heaven? This is more difficult because ancient people had no helicopters or satellites. How could they see what was above heaven? Human intelligence appears precisely here. One day, looking into a pond, people discovered, why has the sky gone below? Why is my reflection above? They realized that the pond, with its reflection of the sky, represents what lies above heaven in the trigram. You can see that all 3 are related to heaven. Heaven itself is 3 solid, unbroken, continuous lines. The lower yao line of heaven is wind. The upper 2 lines are continuous, and the lower one is broken, indicating movement. The middle yao line of heaven is fire. The upper yao line of heaven is marsh. These can be remembered very quickly. Earth works the same way. Earth is 3 broken lines, and these 3 broken lines are also divided into lower, middle, and upper. The lower yao line of Earth is thunder. When thunder strikes, we can feel that something is moving beneath the Earth. The middle yao line of Earth is water. Water continuously flows through the middle of the Earth. And the upper yao line of Earth? Like the upper yao line of heaven, it requires some imagination. There are many things above the Earth. You could say a cow is moving, and that would be correct. A dog is moving, and that would also be correct. Humans are moving, and that is also correct. But these are only secondary phenomena. The I Ching continually raises our thinking, leading us to discover what is fundamental. The greatest movement above the Earth is the mountain. In this way, we understand that thunder, water, and mountain are related to earth. Adding them together gives us the 8 trigrams. Academic circles have many explanations for the origin of the 8 trigrams. Here, Professor Zhengxiang presents his personal understanding of how they came into being. However, on the diagram of the 8 trigrams, what we see written is not heaven, earth, wind, thunder, water, fire, mountain, and marsh. Instead, we see Qian, Kun, Zhen, Zun, Can, Lai, Zhen, and Dui. Why is this? Professor Zhengxiang also offers his own perspective. Heaven, earth, water, fire, thunder, wind, mountain, and marsh. Can these alone help us understand everything about the universe and human life? It seems they cannot do so fully, so gradually we came to call heaven Qian and earth Kun. The words Qian and Kun are used very frequently today. We say Qian Kun Ding Wei, meaning heaven and earth have been set in their proper positions. We say Dian Dao Qian Kun, meaning the natural order has been turned upside down. Many expressions contain the idea of Qian and Kun. This shows that heaven is represented by Qian and earth is represented by Kun. We are already familiar with this. Qian Kun, meaning heaven and earth. But we should consider this. Could heaven not be represented by something else? Must it be Qian? From the I Ching, we can clearly see what heaven represents. I believe this answer was reached after long reflection. It represents Qian Jian, meaning firmness that endures. It is not only Qian, strength, but also Jian, the ability to sustain that strength over time. It is not enough to say that something is strong for a moment. If it immediately becomes weak, can it still represent heaven? Therefore, Qian is Qian, and Jian is Jian. Qian means firmness and strength. Jian means being able to withstand trials and endure the passage of time. Qian Jian means strength that remains firm for a long time. Look at heaven. No matter what happens, year after year, it remains the same. There is no day when heaven says, "I am tired, I need to rest today," and leaves humanity in darkness. So we understand that there is a firm and vigorous quality within the universe, and we use Qian to represent it. And Kun. After much thought, what is Kun? It is yielding and receptive. Kun is extremely yielding and receptive. Look at the earth. If you want to dig a hole, it allows you to dig. If you want to pile up soil, it allows you to do so. If you bury animal remains in it, it does not resist. All kinds of plants grow from it, and it welcomes them all. Heaven is Qian, firm and vigorous. Earth is Kun, yielding and receptive. When these two come together, you understand that heaven and earth are truly a wonderful place for human existence. And wind? Wind also has 2 qualities. When wind blows, it enters everywhere. When wind comes, your whole body can feel the cold. Wherever there is an opening, it immediately enters. So first, it enters, and then it reaches everywhere. Therefore, we use one word to represent it, Zun. Zun means that it enters deeply and spreads throughout, rather than merely staying on the surface. And thunder? The greatest feeling thunder gives us is vibration. When great thunder comes, people are startled and shaken. Therefore, we call it Zhen. Qian, Kun, Zhen, Zhen. And water and fire? Water, especially in Chinese cultural experience, is something we both love and fear. When water comes, it can flood and cause disaster. The greatest problem with water is that it washes away and erodes the soil. So look at Can. It refers to being embedded into the earth. Wherever the earth has been hollowed out, it is often because water has passed through it. Therefore, we call water can. The reason the 8 natural elements are renamed in the 8 trigrams is partly because of their own natural qualities. Heaven is firm, earth is yielding, thunder is Gen, and wind is Zun. At the same time, these names also reveal the connection between natural phenomena and human society. Water being called can shows that water is like the hardships and obstacles in our lives. We fear it, but we cannot avoid it. We can only face it. So what can the naming of fire, mountain, and marsh teach us? Fire, once it rises, attracts people because it is beautiful. But if we look more deeply, we see that in the end, everything is consumed together. The nature of fire is that it can burn others very effectively. After it burns everything away, it also disappears. Therefore, we call it lie. Lie means that in the end, you yourself also disappear. When we fight fires today, we still use the principle of lie. If a fire is too strong and cannot be extinguished, we clear the surrounding area, isolate it, and let it burn. Once everything around it has burned and it can no longer spread, it goes out. This is lie. And mountain. Among the natural phenomena we can observe, mountain is the one that appears most still. When a person comes to a mountain and looks at it, they think, "It is so high. How can I cross it? Let me rest for a while, pause for a while." Therefore, mountain carries the meaning of stopping. This also tells us that having too many desires is not good. If you bring yourself to a reasonable level, know when to stop, and practice restraint, that is good cultivation. Therefore, the Gen trigram is closely related to self-cultivation. A wise person seeing a mountain may think, "I must conquer it. I must climb over it." But why not remain here? After you conquer this mountain, you will discover an even higher mountain. Ideas like these have gradually been expanded and developed through the generations. But when these terms were first established, they truly captured the essence. This is something we greatly admire. Gen means stopping, but stopping does not mean stopping forever. Nothing in the world stops forever. You stop for a while because rest allows you to travel a longer road. The last one is Dewey. Why is it called Dewey? If the character Dewey is combined with the water radical, it becomes you, meaning joy. When you see the water of Dewey, you feel joy, so it is called Dewey. In this way, we understand that these 8 basic trigrams are easy to understand and truly closely connected with our lives. No matter how hard you think, it is difficult to find a 9th or 10th fundamental element. So we draw these 8 basic trigrams into the diagram of the 8 trigrams. Creating this diagram tells us that we live within these 8 fundamental elements. How should we adjust ourselves? Toward what? Toward making our character increasingly noble. In this way, you fully understand the I Ching. Everything else develops from this foundation. The 8 trigrams have been passed down for a long time and are the foundation for studying the I Ching. This is the understanding Professor Tseng Xiang developed after many years of studying the I Ching. As early as the Song dynasty, the great philosopher Zhu Ji included a mnemonic verse describing these 8 basic trigrams in his work, the original meaning of the Zhou Yi. This verse is vivid and easy to recite. Qian 3 connected, Kun 6 broken, Zhen the upturned bowl, Zhen the overturned bowl, lie empty in the middle, Kun full in the middle, Dewey broken at the top, Zhen broken at the bottom. Fuji's single stroke opened heaven and earth, representing the origin of all things in the universe. He then used the 8 trigrams to establish the order of Qian and Kun, organizing all things in the universe into 8 fundamental elements. But with the development of modern science, we have gradually discovered that the things in the world are countless, and human society is complex and constantly changing. Can the diagram of the 8 trigrams drawn by Fuji thousands of years ago truly encompass everything in the universe? Each hexagram has 6 Yao lines. 6 multiplied by 64 gives 384 Yao lines. So 64 becomes 384. Each Yao line also interacts with every other Yao line, changing back and forth. A small change in one can affect the whole, and this can be seen throughout the I Ching. Within one hexagram, there are 6 Yao lines. When any one Yao line changes, it becomes another hexagram. We often say, another hexagram has changed, another hexagram has changed, meaning that it is constantly transforming. Yao lines carry the meaning of change, and also the meaning of imitation. Each Yao line can become yin or yang, but once it changes from yin to yang, or from yang to yin, it becomes a different hexagram. We can now see that each of the 64 hexagrams contains 6 Yao lines. Then the 64 hexagrams interact with one another, because one hexagram can transform into several others, producing 4,096 variations. Remember, everything in the universe is dynamic and changing at every moment. Human destiny is also dynamic and changing at every moment.